Hi, Ralph. How are you? Thanks for joining me today.
Good. How are you doing?
I'm
Thanks for
great.
the invite.
I'm great. I'm great. So, as you know, we are going to be opening enrollment into the association soon, and we'd like to talk to members such as yourself who have joined the association and then successfully transitioned to industry. So, thank you for joining me for this. Um, yeah, and congratulations. So, in your case, you not only have transitioned, but you actually have a new promotion. So, within
Right,
the
right,
same company. So
right.
could you just say your name and then the company and which positions you've held?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm Ralph Hazlewood and was a senior project associate with Regeneron Pharmaceuticals and now an associate manager in research program management at Regeneron.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking a little bit before about what that role entails and all the different transferable skills. But before we get to that and connect it to sort of the job search training, I wanted to go back and rewind to before you got hired and actually even before you joined the association, and talk about some of the challenges you had, whether they are technical challenges like resumes, or if there are any mindset challenge, like just seeing yourself in industry, or getting around that kind of the change in mindset. What challenges did you have?
So you kind of hit it right on head. One of the biggest challenge is learning how to think differently from the academic sense to the industry sense and knowing mostly what to focus on, especially when you're job search. As a academic, you kind of want to belay every certain part, and focus on the wrong things. And in industry, it's more about showing that you're successful, showing that you can move a project forward, that you can succeed. So it's really changing that mindset, especially in a job search of, what you want to highlight and not taking for granted, the different experiences that you have, especially with, thinking about presentations. If you gave a presentation, to high school kids, during a DNA day, that's a way to show that you know how to communicate to a different audience and diverse audience. And that is a pretty sought after skill, in industry, especially with scientists, we can be siloed at our bench and we can communicate, pretty effectively to those, within our fields. But it's really thinking about how do I express or convey this information to someone, whether it be a, educated lay public, but also for them to realize that, I do have these skills or I do have these experiences to transition and be of value to the company. So it was really changing, a mindset that way to really, thinking about the differences between academia and industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can say that a lot of members relate to that. There's a lot of conversation about that, and it's nice to see the transformation or the transition. So you had these challenges, these sort of mindset challenges, and then you joined the association.
Right.
So can you share, were there any immediate benefits or sort of aha moments you had in terms of the materials, the training materials, and the dashboard, or anything like that?
The one immediate thing is you notice, there's always like conjecture. There's a lot of jobs out there, every for faculty, and most of the training in graduate school is training you to become a faculty member. And it's really, being involved, learning more, the Cheeky Scientist Association. You really get hard numbers, how many people transition from grad school, into a faculty position, and not just like an adjunct position, the tenure track faculty position, and those numbers are low, significantly low, compared to, what's out there. We in the US where training, you know, an order of magnitude more PhDs than there are positions, to do, hard science. There are faculty positions, lecturer positions, but for those that, a lot of the PhDs are trained to do, R1 research, there's not a lot of opportunities to do that research. So it was, getting on a dashboard and really learning about, the different avenues that you can transition into industry, was really great. And especially, one thing that I really liked is the many different positions and opportunities in industry.
Yeah.
Coming in, you kind of only know you can be a science writer or, you can be a research scientist. And that's kind of what everyone knows about. And then you come in and you learn about, there's medical science liaisons, there's program managers, there's, as well as the science writers, there's regulatory affairs, there's, field application scientists, there's application scientists, there's, a host of other opportunities that, you're what I personally wasn't aware of, coming into the job search and really knowing, what your interests are and how to find out what exactly your interests are and what really motivates you and what values you have and what positions really align with that. So that was a pretty big turning point, I would say, for myself there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, you start out thinking you have a couple of options, and then you realize you have probably more options than you know what to do with,
Right,
and you
right.
can't figure out which one is a good fit. But to, to have the I mean, even being able to bounce ideas
Right.
off someone or to watch webinars or learn what someone does on the
Right.
job is that can be very helpful, right?
And
Um,
those webinars were like they were outstanding because not only, you're not just reading and, sometimes you can read and read and read and not necessarily pick up the key points, but also having it on the webinars and being very interactive, especially, with those weekly Cheeky Scientist webinars where you can realize, you're not alone. There's others out there, that are still searching for where they fit, what type of careers that they want, not necessarily just a job, but a career. And it's really good to see that you have this network of others and, Chikia Scientist Association that sort of helps you build that frame and you build those skill sets. So that what I say is it was a great turning point, especially for the association.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm really glad to hear that. You mentioned hearing other people's stories, and so another part of the association membership is the private group, the private community. Can
Right.
you comment on how, well, if and how the private group helped you? Maybe some of the benefits, if you found people especially responsive, or what it meant to you.
Right. So I didn't join the private group initially
Okay.
because I wasn't sure exactly how much benefit it would be aside from the dashboard. And I also didn't have Facebook for a very long time. And I didn't want to get back on Facebook. But once I did join back on Facebook and I joined the community, I really realized the value of it. It's sort of a virtual social networking place, obviously, where you can pitch an idea to someone, and within a day, you usually get 14, 15 comments of advice, and most of the time they're all like great varied advices like why didn't I think of that. So it became like a great avenue for advice and not only your application materials, your resume, etc., but also a mental health check. Like this experiment wasn't going, or this job search is not going that well, and I'm frustrated. And then you see people, really uplifting and lifting you up and saying, this happened to me at XX time, and I received, four offers, within a week. So stick at it. So it's those little things that really help, especially in the private group, that you can kind of know that the advice and the camaraderie in there is genuine, as opposed to hearing from a career development office that doesn't necessarily know different, or how the industry has transitioned to different frameworks. So it was a
Yeah.
pretty good opportunity. I wish I joined earlier.
Okay. Well, we're glad you did. That's great. Yeah. And so the last question I wanted to ask, that we asked to PhDs after they transition, is what reservations did you have before you joined the association, and how were the reservations alleviated when you did join?
So the initial reservation I had was, you know, uh, uh, the cost was one thing, and I didn't want it to be just another, industry prep course where the value wasn't worth how much it cost. But, looking at the outside, my earlier self with those free webinars that Isaiah does, and you get to really see the value of what the association has above what you can simply Google. As I said before, knowing about those different career opportunities, a lot of websites still list, 4 or 5 jobs that you can do with a PhD in industry. And, once I joined the association, you know, I learned about, like 40 jobs, 25 jobs that you can do with a PhD. And it's like I never even thought about doing that. And then it gives you, that avenue to really think about, is that something I want to do? And you explore it more. You start to get more excited and motivated about your job opportunities and your prospects. So
Yeah.
you start to think about I know in my case, every little interaction or experiment I've done knowing that I want to transition to industry, I thought about how can I translate this experiment to experience into industry role, and how do I want to market myself or network it that way?
Yeah.
Which another part that I thought about is during their networking scripts. So a lot of time when I went to these big conferences, a tendency is to interact with who you traveled with and sort of stay, and you network, but you don't really make meaningful contributions or meaningful relationships. So it really forced me on myself to go out on a limb and really try to gain some sort of value or give value when I'm
Yes.
out networking, as
Yeah.
opposed to just exchanging pleasantries. And that really made a really big difference in really building meaningful relationships with people with different industries, and really learning about the different careers there, as opposed to what you really hear someone actually describe what they do on a day to day, and then you figure out, oh, I kind of like doing that, and I do that more, I want to learn more about that.
Yeah.
So that's one way, that it was like an immediate value add
Yeah.
over above whatever the cost was. So I think it was a great experience for myself.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you joined as well. Yeah. I think I think we do hear that it's the cost, and is it going to be worth it? And then you join, and then you realize that there's a lot that you don't know that you
Right.
can add on. So yeah, congratulations again on the first
Thank you. Thank you.
transition and now this promotion. It sounds like it's a really great fit for you, and we wish you all the success. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks.